equal prominence on the face of the income statement. That is true. The answer is A. Okay, let's go to number 7. Man Inc. had 300,000 shares of common stock issued and outstanding on January 1. On July 1, an additional 50,000 shares of common stock were issued for cash. Man also had unexercised stock options to purchase 40,000 shares of common at $15 per share. Outstanding at the beginning of the year, the average market price was $20. Okay? So if the average market price is 20 and the exercise price is 15, how many out? 40,000?
Yes.
So 20 minus 15 is going to be 5, that's 1/4, that's 10,000. So it would be plus 0 and then plus 10,000 in the denominator for the stock options. All right, so now I need to do 6 12s and 6 12s. Half of that is 150,000. Half of that's 175,000. So 325,000 in your basic EPS. So your denominator is probably going to be, I should read the question. I'll just assume what's going to ask. What does it ask? What is the number of shares that should be used in computing diluted EPS for the year ended December 31? Well, it would be the actual number of shares outstanding, which is 325,000, plus the assumed number you would issue related to the options, 10,000. So the answer should be 335,000, which is B. B. Questions? Okay, let's look at number 8. Under the Treasury method, the diluted earnings per share calculation is based on the assumption that call options and warrants issued by the reporting entity and outstanding for the entire year were exercised at the answer is B, the beginning of the period, and that the funds thereby obtained were used to purchase common stock at the average market price during the period. So the answer is B. B. We're supposed to skip number 9, right? Let's go to number 10. 10 is skip 2?
11.
Okay. Skip 11 too. So go all the way to 12. Starks Corporation has 300,000 shares of common stock outstanding. The only other diluted securities outstanding are 10,000 shares of 9% cumulative preferred stock with detachable warrants. 10 warrants per share of preferred stock. Each warrant provides for the purchase of 1 share of common stock at $72. For the year, net income was $1,600,000. During the year, the average market price of the common stock was $125. The price on December 31 was $120. What number of shares should be used to calculate diluted EPS? Well, first you start with the 300,000, and then it was 125 minus 72 divided by 125 times, we got to figure out how many options there are, 10 warrants if there's 10,000 shares of preferred, 10 warrants per share of preferred would be 100,000. Somebody please do the math. What's 125 minus 72 divided by 125? And then multiply that times 100,000.
42,400.
42,400. Therefore, my answer is 342,400. 342,400, so the answer is B.
The 100,000 shares you got, that's the number of outstanding shares times the warrant.
No, it's the number of outstanding, the 10 warrants per preferred share.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 10 warrants per preferred share. How many shares of preferred stock are there?
10,000.
10,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, 10,000 times.
Yeah, but you said 100,000 times. So
No, I said 100,000 is, anyway.
yeah, it's the number of outstanding preferred shares times the number of warrants attached to each share. So it's 100,000. Okay, now they ask us to look at the information in the gray at the bottom of the page for 13, 14, and 15, not the next page. Collins' capital structure was as follows. Outstanding shares of common stock, common 100,000 for both years, so it doesn't look like that changed. Convertible preferred. I would put a check mark by convertible in the preferred, because that means I'm going to subtract dividends for the preferred no matter what. And then I have 9% convertible bonds. I'd put a check mark by the convertible word too. Okay, then it says, during year 5, Collins paid dividends of $3 per share on its preferred stock. Okay, how much were the total dividends on the preferred?
Here's 10,000, 30,000.
30,000, there you go. All right. The preferred shares are convertible into 20,000 shares of common stock. And the 9% bonds are convertible into 30,000 shares of common stock. The tax rate for the year is 30%. All right, so number 13 says, if net income for year 5 is $350,000, Collins should report diluted EPS. No, we can't calculate diluted until we calculate basic, right? So, basic EPS, what was net income?
350,000 for year 5.
And you told me the dividends on the preferred are 30? And wasn't the denominator 100,000?
Yeah.
So, we got 320,000, $3.20. So, basic EPS is $3.20. Okay, now, if we're testing the preferred stock, how would this change? The numerator would, if the preferred stock is converted, the numerator would go up by 30,000. How many shares of common does the preferred convert it into? 20,000. So the denominator would be 20,000. Therefore, this is $1.50, right? 3 divided by 2 is $1.50. Therefore, this is diluted compared to 320. Now we got to check out the bonds. The bonds, how are we going to calculate the amount of interest on the bonds? Well, they're 9% times $1 million. That would be 90,000. But we only get to keep 70% of that. And how many shares of common? Is this 30,000?
What'd you say? I figured it out.
Somebody please take 63,000 divided by 30,000. Is that
2.10.
210? Well, so this would be dilutive as well. So are you with me? All right, so now we got to go back and calculate diluted EPS. We start with 320,000 divided by 100,000. And we rank these from largest or smallest to largest. So the smallest would be this one first and then this one second. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 30,000 to my numerator and 20,000 to my denominator. Okay? What is 350,000 divided by 120,000?
$2.92.
I'm sorry?
$2.92.
291, I get. Is it?
Round.
I rounded. So.
That is 2.916.
Well, 2.
Net 2.916? Are you sure?
So round up to 2.
Okay. So 292?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 2, but that's still less than 320. All right, so now we keep going, and then we add 63,000 to the numerator, and to the denominator add 30. What do you get when you do that? $2.75? $2.75. So there's your answer. $2.75. Questions?
When you're ranking them, you rank them from most.
Smallest to largest. Smallest to largest. Okay, look at number 14. If net income for year 5 was $245,000, what would diluted EPS be? Well, that would mean you got to go back and say 245 minus 30 divided by 100,000. So that's $2.15. That's basic EPS, right? Okay. So then when we check, this one would be dilutive, right? And this one would also be dilutive potentially. So watch what we do. We do our calculations again. So we would go back and start with 215 divided by 100,000. Okay, so that's what gives me $2.15. Then I would take plus 30,000 and plus 20,000. So what's 245,000 divided by 120,000?
2.04.
Say it.
2.04.
$2.04. Okay, so that is diluted 2. So we got to keep going now. So the next time is plus 63,000 divided by plus 30,000. So now it's 245,308. Is that right? Yeah. 308,000 divided by 150,000.
2.05.
2.05. So what's your answer? Because that becomes anti-dilutive. The last one becomes anti-dilutive because it made EPS go up. And so we don't assume that's converted, you leave it as is.
So you just go with
You keep going
where
to the
it
lowest
it
standard.
goes down,
So
but when it comes back up.
Stop,
Okay.
go back to the previous one.
No, to the five.
Okay, look at number 15. If net income for year 5 was 170,000, okay. Well, we go back to here. It'd be 170,000 minus 30,000 divided by 100,000. That would be basic EPS is $1.40. Well, look, this would be anti-dilutive, and this would be anti-dilutive, right? If the answer is greater than your $1.40, both of those are anti-dilutive in this case. Therefore, the answer would be A, each $1.40. Basic and diluted EPS would be the same.
Explain that again, explain further.
Because when I test the preferred stock, what answer do I get?
The $1.50,
Okay, and compare that to basic EPS.
it's more.
So it's anti-dilutive.
Okay.
Same thing for the, even for the bonds payable, it's even bigger, $2.10 compared to $1.40.
So when you figure out each one individually, and you come up with the test number, EPS or whatever you call it, if it's more than your original EPS, you'll.
If it's more than basic EPS, then it's anti-dilutive.
Okay.
Leave it alone.
But if one of them is anti-dilutive and the other is dilutive,
Only do the one that's diluted. Because we're trying, we're
All right.
trying to make earnings per share as weak as possible. We're trying to dilute it as much as possible. So we're trying to make it weaker, not higher. So when it went from 204 to 205, no. The answer is $2.04. Okay? Now look at number 16. Now this is going to blow your mind. Is 16 excluded?
no, I see what you're saying.
Okay, let's look at number 16. A firm has basic earnings per share of $1.29. If the tax rate is 30%, which of the following securities would be dilutive? A, cumulative 8% $50 par preferred stock. Well, first of all, it doesn't say it's convertible. It has to say it's convertible in order to be dilutive. Since it doesn't say it's convertible, then I can ignore A. A can't possibly be the right answer. Okay, go to B. 10% convertible bonds. Okay, this is potentially dilutive. Issued at par. Each $1,000 bond is convertible into 20 shares of common stock. Okay, so if it's a $1,000 bond at 10%, if you converted that one bond to shares of stock, how much interest would you save? 10% times 1,000 would be $100, right? But you multiply that $100 times what? The complement of the tax rate. So I would get to keep $700. No, $70. Excuse me, 70. And that bond is convertible into how many shares of common stock? 20. Okay, would somebody please do the math? What is 70 divided by 20?
350.
235?
3.5.
350.
Yeah.
Okay, compare that to your basic EPS. It's $1.29, so that's too high. That's anti-dilutive. So that would not be dilutive. Go to C. 7% convertible bonds issued at par. Each $1,000 bond is convertible into 40 shares of common. So now it's 7%. times 1,000 would be $70, but I only get to keep 70% of that. So the numerator would be
49.
plus 49, and the denominator is plus 40. What is 49 divided by 40 expressed as dollars and cents?
$1.23.
1.225. How does that compare to $1.29?
It's done.
It's diluted. So that appears to be our answer, but let's prove it to ourselves by seeing about D. D says you have 6% $100 par cumulative convertible preferred stock issued at par, which each preferred share convertible into 4 shares of common. Okay? Well, if it's 6% $100 par, then that dividend of $6 would go away, and it's convertible into 4 shares of common. So 6 divided by 4 is $1.50. So this is anti-dilutive compared to $1.29. So the one of these that is dilutive is C. Only C is dilutive. Questions? Okay, let's go number 17. In determining earnings per share, interest expense, net of applicable income taxes on dilutive convertible debt should be D, added back to net income for diluted EPS. Should be added back to net income for diluted EPS. Okay, look at number 18. In computing diluted EPS, the equivalent number of shares of convertible preferred stock is added as an adjustment to the denominator, the number of shares outstanding. If preferred stock is preferred as to dividends, which amount would be added as an adjustment to the numerator? Okay, so the question is, this was the dividend on the preferred stock, right? Earlier. Do we add back that amount, or do we adjust it for the income tax effect? You add back the amount of preferred dividends. The only one that you adjust for income tax effects would be the interest expense on convertible debt. So the answer is A, the annual preferred dividend. The annual preferred dividend.
That sentence there, if the preferred stock is preferred